Max Verstappen's exit clause is one of the hottest topics at the moment, and Helmut Marko just provided some serious information regarding it. The four-time world champion might be gone from Red Bull sooner rather than later, and now that the veteran Austrian gave us the time frame as to when this topic is going to be popularized, we might be looking at yet another silly season on the horizon. But with this in mind, where will Verstappen end up in 2026? And more importantly, have Red Bull definitely lost their way with the development of their car, which is crucial to keep Verstappen at bay? There are no two ways around it. Verstappen is very unhappy with Red Bull right now, and although that doesn't directly mean he's out of the team, the chances of this scenario happening are extremely high. The four-time world champion has now stated that he has no idea what the future holds for him, amid rumours that his exit clause gives him an option to leave Red Bull if he's below third in the Drivers' Championship. Right now, he sits at exactly that place with just a 6-point advantage over Russell, something that could very well change after the next GP in Jeddah. The concern in Red Bull's camp is big, and when talking about this scenario where Red Bull would have to rebuild themselves from the bottom up without the presence of Max, Marko said, "Upgrades are needed for Max to win his 5th world title. That is our big goal, and the whole team is working hard on it. Of course, every top driver has an exit clause if performance is not good, but they are all tuned differently, and that is not a topic at the moment." What this gives us is a clue that while the concerns of Max's future with Red Bull are now one of the primary topics within the inner circles of the team, the focus is on the car's development. The first massive upgrade package should arrive in Imola, but whether or not it will be enough to catch up with the front of the pack, time will tell. Verstappen has proven time after time that he doesn't need the fastest car by a mile to win the championship, but the deficit that Red Bull currently has compared to McLaren and Ferrari is just too big to compensate for with a couple of upgrade packages. Even Mercedes has seemed to be the stronger team in 2025 so far, and all of this puts things into a different perspective. When will Max think about a future outside of Red Bull? According to Marko, that could happen around the summer break period. This would be the perfect time to evaluate whether or not the team has what it takes to bring themselves back on track in the new regulations, or even more importantly, what have they done so far in order to catch up with the big dogs? We do know for a fact that they are going to spend tons of the 2026 budget in order to keep the competitiveness in 2025 high, but that's not supposed to guarantee them a successful mission. Not with the wind tunnels they have right now. Elaborating on the time frame of Verstappen's exit clause, Marko said, "Yes, the summer break is the time window for Max's exit clause to be talked about, but please, we are third in the Drivers' Championship with a deficit of 8 points. The summer break is still a long way off." Pardon us for the concerns, Marko, but we do think that Max has already signed off on the team because of what happened in Bahrain. Many of you would normally think that it's just a bad weekend, but this was definitely more than that. This was Max's realization of how far behind Red Bull actually are. That was covered by the win in Suzuka and the fact that he was able to keep both McLarens behind due to the track's nature. But when overtaking and tyre degradation step into play, then the RB21 is nowhere to be found. The fact that Tsunoda finished P9, running 2 positions behind Verstappen for the majority of the race before the Dutchman finally passed Gasly, and the fact that Max drove behind a Haas and Alpine throughout the entirety of the race go to show that this is definitely not the season that they would have imagined on their hands. Reports from Sky F1 also state that Verstappen is now destined to leave the team, with 2 major teams coming into play, Mercedes and Aston Martin. This has been reported on by Simon Lazenby, as he went on to say, "Everybody is talking about Max in the paddock. There are no two ways about it. You go up to people from Dutch media, some of them are saying, we think it's done already. Others are saying he is in discussions. This is the nature of it. We might as well report what we see and report what we hear. Names will remain anonymous, but there are some that are saying he is going off to Aston Martin. There are some that are saying, why on earth, when we think the dynos and the info coming out of Brixworth is that Mercedes is looking really strong for 2026. And again, the question of Max's future is going to be answered by nobody but the Dutchman himself. If we're to look at the broader picture, we can see that he has a great reunion opportunity in Aston Martin, the team that brought Honda and Newey to their camp. They were vital for Red Red Bull's success in the ground effect era, as well as the first championship of Max in the Drivers' Championship back in 2021. So you would naturally think that Max will want to work with the old crew, especially given the fact that Newey has a very big influence in the drivers' pairing due to the position of a technical partner. The same can be said about Honda, as the president of the Japanese manufacturer has gone on to state that they will act in the same way they did with Red Bull regarding this matter. Max himself said that he is still young and has no idea what the future holds for him, and when talking about a potential reunion with Honda, the four-time world champion stated, "I'm still quite young and you never know what happens in the future. I could never have imagined the heights we would reach with 4 championships won together. Honestly, the relationship that we've had with Honda has been amazing. I've really enjoyed my time with them. How they also work, how professional they are, and how dedicated they are. They have given me so much. It's been an unbelievable ride, and of course something you'll never forget." This has been backed up by Koji Watanabe, the president of Honda. He stated that his team will have a much bigger influence in how the drivers' lineup is going to look than what the media imagines. Adding their piece of the pie to this story, Watanabe said, "After this season, our focus is on the collaboration with Aston Martin. Honestly, I hope that there will be another opportunity for Honda to work with Max Verstappen. I sincerely hope so. I have spoken to him many times and he has always been positive about our attitude and mentality. Max is also very strong in communication with the Honda engineers. He talks clearly with them, and that ensures that the engineers have become fans of his and why they are extremely dedicated to him. The number of seats will be reduced. However, as for us, we will continue to voice our opinions as Honda in deciding the drivers for 2026 and beyond. Obviously, the team has the final say in deciding which drivers join the team, but the situation will be the same as with Red Bull, where we will have our say." But still, there is a growing concern that the 2026 regulations are going to be exactly the same as the ones in 2014, which means that the domination will be shifted towards Mercedes. Of course, this is not a guarantee because there are other teams that are using their engines in the new regulations, such as Alpine, Williams, and most importantly, McLaren. On top of that, the importance of the battery can't be neglected either, as the 50-50 distribution between the ICE and this part of the car is probably the one that raises the most concern for the teams on the grid. However, this gives Verstappen 2 options: either try to join Mercedes in a very lucrative manner, or join Aston Martin and prove that you can beat them in their own game. Regarding the Brackley-based squad, there has been an interesting development of events. Amidst talks that Russell's contract will be continued for 2 more years, the talks have simmered down all of a sudden. This suggests that Wolff might want to persuade Verstappen and to push him in the right direction, showing that they won't wait forever either. With all this in mind, what do you think about Verstappen's future with Red Bull? And more importantly, do you think they have what it takes to keep the 4-time world champion at bay? Let us know in the comments below, and once you've done that, have a look at the video that's appearing on your screen right now.